Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm Nick, Duke of Hobbies here with a kind of a new series we're doing also on YouTube here. Um, I am going to be evaluating, helping with our deck profile reviews. I'm actually going to be, instead of just bringing them onto the podcast, having our videos show up on here on YouTube. Also, where we're starting at least from my end here, because I can't stream with my internet set up the way it is. Um, I'm going to take a bunch of deck profiles that all the content creators are making, if I can find, as many as I can in a reasonable time, watch their videos, listen to what they're saying, review, look at what I think, break it down, go in, rank them, and then see what I think in terms of, what's the better version out there based on what I play. So I'm going to build all these decks as much as I can, or as close as possible, and go from there. So, hey, let's jump into this. You're gonna watch a speed run of my uh, reactions to these, and then we'll get into the decks themselves that I kind of after I rank them from initial thoughts, and then we'll jump into the decks after we get into after we've played a bunch of them too. So I hope you guys enjoy this, and if you do, please give us a thumbs up and a like and all the stuff that goes a long way for us. It really does. So we appreciate the community's support so far, and we hope you guys can continue with our support. With that out of the way, let's jump right into it and actually start really diving into these decks. Hey everyone, this is Duke from the future here coming in. Just to kind of, as the speed run goes on, just give you guys my thoughts on what's actually going on during this point. So I evaluated a bunch of decks here. These are the content creators that I looked at. The first one here again is Omnipoke. First and foremost, they do the best video deck profiles, hands down. They show no gameplay, but they don't need to. If you're looking to where to start a deck, if you have a certain one in mind, this is stop number one for anyone. They do such a good job putting these decks together, putting the tech options in. It's just really well done, and the matchup spread. Joe and Jack, just amazing players. Rare Candy. One thing I'm super jealous of the fact that he does it with the actual live cards. Great time. He puts a lot of effort in these videos to go through and actually highlight a specific card. Amazing editing. It's just kind of neat to see the real cards, and I think it's funny how he shows off the bling versions of it. But hey, good player, solid deck, and if you notice, this is the second one with Stone Energy in it. That was something I went into in more detail later. Alright, Single Strike Mustard Style. So this deck by Slowpoke, well, is the only one that used it. It's interesting. And he has no Houndours in it. He only has Houndooms. So he has to get Single Strike Mustard to trigger to actually pull that off. And that's what I'm trying to explain when I was first thinking and watching this video. He runs 4 Pokegears. It's the most unique version of the deck out of all the ones that we're going to compare today. And his videos are just genius. Well edited, well put together, just amazing work done by him. We couldn't ask for a better, more interactive, enjoyable deck breakdown than I think than any of the other players that we actually watch for this video set. Azul. All right. Again, if Omnipoke puts together a good deck, Azul and Omnipoke pretty much had the exact same decks. I don't know if they collab, but either way, these decks are amazing from initial thoughts. And just again, if you go to his videos if you're looking to come up with a deck, but I still like Omnipoke a little bit better in the presentation. Mr. Lesage here, just a really good job. He has the only ones with a Rangaroo in it, and I think that's kind of an interesting breakdown with it. One thing I like about his videos is not only does he show the deck gameplay, but he does a closing thoughts. Not a lot of people do that closing thoughts. And I think that's important, not just to be honest while you're playing, but also be able to see, like after the fact. Because sometimes these guys play these decks for hours on hours, or sometimes they only play like 3 games with it, and they're like, this is what they came up with. Sableye, Mitch, amazing. Just an amazing videos. I love the way he does them. Consistent. You know exactly where to go. He puts a lot of time and effort into that. But the most important thing I think he's honest while he's playing. Sometimes the video doesn't deck doesn't make it into the video, but matchup doesn't. But honestly, this is just pure reaction. I think this is genius if you're trying to like see how a certain style goes. Flex Daddy Righteous is our next deck. Again, one of the few with Bruno in it. Uh, Really fun deck. Really solid from my initial thoughts when I see it here. But you'll see that in the next portion of this video. Again, just another honest, fun player to watch. I like when I actually see like, oh, they might have made a mistake and they didn't realize it, and they evaluate it later. I think that goes a long way in understanding the mental process of a player who's learning a brand new deck and trying to adjust it. So again, another good video, first and foremost. Even though it's taken from a stream, I think it's really well done from before and after. Yeah, I got really invested in this much. I think I was getting really excited by the fact that, and then I think this is his misplay. I think he actually had a chance with it, but all right. And then our very own Triple P. This is Panuk's version of it. He's the only one that run Rose and Cricketune. Again, we saw the tech options in the other one, but he's the only one who actually used it. And hey, Jake does solid work. Okay, so those are the decks there. We got Omnipoke, Rare Candy, Slowpoke Well, Azul GG, Zach Lesage, Sableye, Flex Daddy Rages, and Triple P's own Panux going at it with different Urshifus. A couple of them are similar. We're going to rank these here shortly with my initial thoughts. Then we're going to play these decks, and then we're going to re-rank them. And then we're going to see what is the best Urshifu Single Strike deck initially thought out by the community. The initial thoughts on these decks review. So again, just so that we're all on the same page here, we looked at Omnipoke, Rare Candy, Slowpoke Well, Azul GG, Zach Lesage, Sableye, Flex Daddy Righteous, and of course our own Triple P by Panux. All right, so again, looking at these decks and everything, I built them all. I think I have only a few card difference for Slowpoke Well, but initial thoughts. Three of them are exactly the same. We have Omnipoke, Rare Candy, and Assault. I'm going to put this at the standard. I think this deck is good. I think there's a lot of potential here. I haven't played this yet. I'll be honest with you. I have not played these yet. So, my initial thoughts, again, they all run stone, at least the stone energy in here is pretty much the same thing. They have the Jirachi to protect themselves. Let's actually pull the deck up here. Hold up. Yeah, so you got a 4/4 line of everything. 4/3 of the Urshifus. They have kind of this great catcher. Um, two Dedenes, a Jirachi, and a Crobat. They all kind of suffer from this, and they're only running 2 Towers of Darkness. But they can have a capture and a stone energy. Those are kind of the main things here. I think this is solid. I think this is going to be pretty darn good. So I'm going to put Azuls, Rare Candies, and Omnipokes. My initial thoughts again are just at an A for them right now. So yeah, I think this is good. I think this will work. I'm worried about bench space still, and I have my concerns with it though. The other ones though, we'll jump around here. We're gonna take actually a look at Slowpoke Well. Okay, he's relying on Single Strike Mustard to get those Houndooms out. I have a lot of concerns with this. I don't think it's as viable or as common as it will be, so I'm actually going to put this down to the C tier. I'm really concerned about this. I'm going to play it. We're going to see some footage from all this. It's going to be montage style again coming up here. Maybe I'll slow down at the major points, but yeah, I'm putting that there. I'm also going to be putting just I think it's at the same because I don't think it makes sense for the Urshifu is actually having Rose in that deck. But I'm putting Triple P's there. I'm putting Pinox there at the C. So because I think those three up there because again they're pretty much the same are all looking to be that's like the standard I'd put at the deck, and I think these are both below standard. I think they have a lot of issues for them. I put Stabilize at a B. He puts in a Tyranitar there. I don't know how effective it's going to be. Again, there's a lot of bench space issues. I don't really agree with the entire deck itself. I think it's just below. I like the T-Tar because it's good against Dragapult, but he doesn't have a Mew in the deck. It's kind of weird. So again, just that's my initial thought there. Flectrinity Righteous, I'm going to also put at an A. Now, he is sitting separately from the other three because it is a different style deck. He's the only one who runs he's not the only one who runs Bruno, but that's kind of what separates him. He has no stone energy compared to the other ones. I think it's really good too. I think it has its own flaws. So, but it is different. It's different from the first three that I put in. But where's that put us with Lesage? Now, Lesage's deck, let's open it up here, is a little different. I think it's a lot more straightforward. I think it has some potential that I like a lot about it in terms of this is just 3/3 Houndoom because he recognizes the fact that he's going to have issues with bench space, especially if you have to play the Mew, if you have to play an Oranguru, and then you have the Dedenne or the Jirachi. So if you're playing all that, your bench is limited. So you're only going to have 1 or 2 Houndooms at most, especially if you can only have 1 or 2 of these. When it comes to the training cards, because I think you recognize that, he's running the 4 Towers of Darkness, and he's going to discard a lot of these late game Houndours and Houndooms, plus this Single Strike Urshifus and the Skull Scrorns. I think you keep as much as you can, so you're not trying to get rid of that. Plus, you can always discard Single Strike energy. He runs 3 of the Vitality Urns. So again, I think this is pretty much similar to the other ones, but there are some key differences here. He's running 4 Single Strike energy, and 7 fighting energy. No other special energy. I think that makes a lot more sense, personally. But again, I think by reducing the number of Houndooms that he's going to have in the deck, he's recognizing a couple of the other issues and trying to fit the Oranguru Guru in there with the Mew. So I think this is the better one of all. So I'm not going to put this as S tier, but it's like, meh, like if I had an A plus tier. Can I add that? Nope, I can't add that. So, yeah, so this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking these are standard. We got a couple that are below. I just worried about the consistency of the other ones. But at this point, it's time to play them. Let's see how this comes out. So, cue the montage. All right, everyone. Court is now in session for the final portion of this video. And yes, I have played quite a few games with Single Strike Urshifu with all these decks, or at least the combination of those three again. And judgment is now being passed. Well, this is where we were from the initial thoughts, and I'm going to adjust this, and you're going to see, and then I'm going to adjust each of them. So, whew. I don't mean to do it this way, but this is the best way. And yeah, okay. So not much changed, but I can tell you this. I don't think Single Strike Urshifu is S tier deck quality. So I'm not going to put any of these S tier because I don't think the deck itself, the meta itself allows for it to be S tier. It is so close. It is such a good deck. I have some really tough issues, and like I said, Omnipoke did a really good job of the breakdown of what it's bad and good against. And you know what? They were pretty spot on with a lot of things here. But let's start with the obvious elephant in the room. That's Mr. Slowpoke Wells. I really wanted this to be actually a good deck, and I couldn't say that it is, this version of it. I think there can be improvements done to it. I think you can go down a Single Strike Mustard path, but the fact that it doesn't have the Houndours for the consistency of getting Houndoom is its biggest issue. You end up relying solely on the scrolls for attacking, and you can even see that in those clips I showed them in the video here, but I had some issues with it. So I only got, out of the playtesting I was willing to put into time to it, I had only 4 wins with it. I lost 7 times. I did trigger Single Strike Mustard 5 times, and I lost every time I did that. I think I won 1 time. I apologize. I did say I had considered 4 games to have a dead hand, and I think I even won 1 of those games with a dead hand. It was just, you have, like I said, you need to get the energy out, and this needs 3 energy to do for the VMAX version to do a attack if you don't have the scrolls, or if you're not doing enough damage without it. So you have to have the Houndooms, the doors to get to the Houndooms. I think there's a call to use Single Strike Mustard, but not in this way. All right, we're going to jump then into Sableye. Again, it's a solid deck. It was rough to play, though. It's not as clean and crisp as I would say with the other ones. T-Tar is a nice, but you need Jirachi in this deck right now with the way the meta is going. So because you're seeing a lot of Mew 3s, you're seeing a lot of hard counters. The Poltegeist from Mad Party is a matchup you actually have to be worried about, which if you come up against Mad Party and Blackstaddy's deck, I'll go into that in a little bit, but Poltegeist one-shots you with basically no other Pokemon in there, so you have to have the Jirachi. That's one of my other concerns with it. It doesn't have that support to protect it right now. Too many. The other thing is there are too many capture energies. I don't like the fact that it had so many capture energies in this deck. It was really frustrating to have 4 of those in there. I think maybe 1 is okay. And we'll get into Stone Energy later. It had an Eldegoss. Take it out. Doesn't need it. Don't put Eldegoss. Your bench space is too valuable without it. So I did play T-Tar. You see it in the video again. I've only played it 3 times. I never played it against Dragapult, so I don't see that matchup. I won 6 times with it. I lost 7 times with it. And basically, the way I was doing this is when I got to 7 wins first, I just thought that's enough times to kind of evaluate just with a good judgment based on what I could see. All right. Before we'll do Lesage, I want to actually jump to Triple P because that was the other one that I put the video in this video for. And you saw that. I love this deck. This is actually really good, except for the rows. One of the biggest issues I'm having with Urshifu is the bench space. You want enough Houndooms, but you need to play those consistency cards such as the Crobats and the Dedenes, and that's another spot that's taking up a Houndoom. And then if you need a Jirachi or you need the Mew, that's another spot taking up for the Houndooms, or even the next Urshifu that you need to be building up. So that is one of the issues I have with it. So, Cricketune, solid. It helped me so much. I think I actually played the deck the most because I was talking to Jake a lot about it. For the recording, for the purposes of this video, I hit 7 wins really quick. I had 6 losses. I counted those in the videos later. I only used Rose once, and I lost that game. It wasn't really all that great. In terms of, again, its effectiveness with Rose, if you can pull off the combination. But it's good. It's really good. Outside of play testing this, I modified it. I went 13-2 on ladder alone, and then took it to the events. And it's the only version that I have that has won an event on TCG, on PTCGO. So, again, the Cricketune is so wonderful because of the fact that your bench space is consistent return. And you're okay if they knock it out because it's not hitting the Urshifu, or yes, fire is going to be all over that, but if they're playing fire, they pretty much can't boss until late game anyways. Which at that point you might have already had enough to take out the SETI Scorcher or whatever they need, so you're forcing them to play Welder again. Great deck, really surprised me in how effective it was. So well done, Jake. Take out the Rose. All right, so I want to jump into not Stabilize. We did Stabilize. Let's go into Lesage. I only put Lesage lower than the other ones because I had a lot of issues with it. I won pretty easily. I just feel like it has too much going on for it. I like the Guru. I use the Guru. It's solid. It's just not as consistent as I would say with the other ones. Again, you're limited on the bench space. It's hard to describe. This one was the hardest one to describe out of all the others I can say here. But otherwise, it's good. Work with it. I think there's something here for it. Guru is definitely helpful, but not critical. There's very few times. I think you need one less battlefield and one more urn in this deck instead. Or the Tower Darkness versus the Single Strike urn. I'd rather have 4 of those and 3 of those towers instead. Both are super effective. But you know what, though? These other guys, these other decks, they're right on the money in what I call for them here. Initially, I thought this would be standard. You can use them. If you're going to play Single Strike Urshifu, I do highly suggest starting here and modifying, maybe heading towards the Triple V version without the Rose, but the Cricketune instead. The number one thing I have to say about all those other decks is take out Stone Energy. It is absolutely worthless. Fan of Waves is in every deck. And if it's out there in the meta and it's being played a lot, you're going to have a rough time. This Fan of Waves just says no and guarantee removes Stone Energy. I never saw benefit. Actually, I was happy when I had the damage down on me because of the fact that I'll counterattack and get the knockout later. So that's my biggest criticism with that. So you have other options taking out the energy. Put the Cricketune in. The bench space is the biggest concern here, so you have to evaluate it based on that. You can take off, I think a 3/3 line of the Houndooms makes perfect sense. Fit in the other Pokemon, the Jirachi, the Mew, to protect if need be. Otherwise, they get discarded. Mad Party is really frustrating. It's who I lost to the most in the ladder. I handled the Decidueye. You saw that really well. It's a good deck. It's really good. I got to Flex Daddy. I think I went 7-0. Played a few more times. Level Ball was really helpful too. So with his version in there, with that kind of variation, really helpful. But the Omnipoke one, I went 5-0 real quick on it with ladder, and I faced ADP. That was actually the most diverse. I faced SETI Scorch, I faced ADP, and I faced Darmanitan and Teleonline, which I wrecked. Which it just was so fun getting hit with 200. The bench is taking a bunch of damage, and you're just like, feed me the anger, and you just come in and wall up that the Darmanitan. It's too good. It's really good. And ADP. Single Strike energy, they're just frustrated. Experiment with them. I start with that Omnipoke video if you're going to go anywhere. But I will post in here. Maybe, I don't know. I'm still working on my Triple P version that I really like right now. Maybe we'll have that up when this video comes out too. So I'll have links to everyone's decks here. Check them all out. Judge them for yourself. What do you guys think? What did you see in the decks that you had issues with? Let me know in the comments down below, and if not in the comments, in the Discord. I want to hear your guys' thoughts. We need to evaluate these and see how these go. So I hope you enjoyed this. I enjoyed doing this, and we'll see you next time on, I don't know, Duke's judging deck val. I don't know. We'll come up with a name for this, but in the end, thank you. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and take a look at another one of our videos here. Also, if you haven't done so yet, hit subscribe. It goes a long way in helping us grow. Remember, we release a podcast episode once a week on all the major platforms. We also stream every Friday on Twitch and make a Whimsy Watch monthly report.